that Julie Andrews had this very rich classical vocal style, and yet she applied it to very simple songs like A Spoonful of Sugar and, you know, My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. So I think it's that vocal texture that really resonated with me even at the age of 3, and as I grew older, that's the style that I've adopted myself. So I was studying with Menaka Fonseca Sahabandu as a teenager, and in 2006, at the age of 18, the Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka had their concerto competition. I don't think they have it anymore, but at the time I was the only male vocal finalist, and at that competition, Auntie Menaka wanted me to sing operatic arias as well as Broadway musical numbers, because at the time I was mainly into Broadway musicals, not so much opera. Absolutely. Starting with nursery school at the age of 4 or 5, my nursery teachers at St. Joseph's College cast me as Annie in the musical Annie, and that really gave me a huge confidence boost as a child. And then when I was older, I was a part of the school choir, I was a choir leader and everything, but I have to give credit to Mr. Francis de Almeida, who is still the choral director of St. Joseph's College, the school choir. I was actually more into Broadway musicals in my early to mid-teens, and I was listening to all these very old musicals by Rodgers and Hammerstein, you know, Oklahoma, South Pacific. Then in my sort of mid to late teens, Auntie Menaka got me more into opera because I was studying with her as a teenager, and then I started listening to more opera. Honestly, I would say the main thing is to treat it like a craft, like a discipline. It's not something you do just to say that, oh, you know, it's so cool to be singing opera. Because there are some young singers who have that mentality. Please do not approach it in an elitist manner. That oh, you know, I'm singing opera, so I'm a better singer than some other singer who's not singing classical music. I've seen that trend a little bit in Colombo, and that really upsets me. Music is music. I would say working with one of the actresses from The Bold and the Beautiful. Her name is Heather Tom. She plays Brooke Logan's sister. Working with her in my feature film, The Billionaire, which is still not released, it's still in post-production. But the fact that Heather Tom agreed to do the film and act alongside me was a huge honor. The reason I chose this film is because I wanted to portray Sri Lankans and South Asians in a very empowered manner, not in a subservient way, the way Hollywood sometimes portrays South Asians. So I hope that when this film is released, young actors and actresses in Sri Lanka realize that we don't have to play second fiddle to other races. I would say maybe going to a very good spa and having like a, I don't know, like a 1.5 hour massage, 2 hour massage. Maybe go see a movie with 1 or 2 friends or, you know, close people. The love of the art, the love of the craft, that's why I'm into it. I love the art and the craft so much that I can, like Julie Andrews, when she's singing, you know, up in the Austrian mountains, and there's no one around her, it's just her and the mountains, and that's my approach to it. I really got into acting more for the love of language, the love of drama. My acting style is a little more traditional, a little more classical. So in Los Angeles, I'm in the process of recording my first album, which will be a compilation of operatic arias as well as slightly more contemporary songs. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to stage a full-length opera in Sri Lanka with local artists as well as international artists. Yes, born and raised in Colombo. I was at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, which has the best film school in the world, the USC School of Cinematic Arts. I've been a permanent resident green card holder. Definitely be a dual citizen in the future, American and Sri Lankan. What I would like to do is spend more time in Sri Lanka, to do more productions here, to do more collaborative projects with foreign artists and local artists. I think it's the perfect time for all young musicians to step up to the plate and follow their passions, whatever genre they may be interested in. Joan Crawford, Audrey Hepburn, Julie Garland, Julie Andrews, Rex Harrison, Richard Burton, those are kind of my idols. Among the modern actors, I really love Rachel Weisz. She kind of brings that classical technique into modern cinema. I also love Uma Thurman. Tom Hardy, of course, I think is brilliant. He can play anything. I was born and raised Catholic, but in my late teens and early 20s, I also kind of explored Hinduism for a while. I think God created us to be as perfect as possible, whatever that may mean to you. So I think we all owe it to ourselves to be the best versions of ourselves. And I think, only God is perfect. We can't be perfect, but we can be practically perfect, as I say. Of course, in America, for one thing, you have the racial barrier because there aren't really any Sri Lankan actors, not even that many South Asian actors for that matter, so they look at you differently. That's definitely been a challenge. So it's been up to me to prove myself and to kind of establish a career over there. So what I did was, I started producing short films there. I did a few short films that got into film festivals in Los Angeles and Palm Springs. That got me attention. The burden is on you, unfortunately. When you're a colored actor, it's up to you to show them that you are as good as their own actors. Actually, no, I do not like cricket. I'm not just an opera singer, because the thing is, if you're an opera singer, you have to only do that. This year, I was invited by America's Got Talent to be a judge on a particular segment. They were filming like a 2-week competition in Pasadena where they were bringing together a number of different international groups and artists. So they invited me to be a judge on that. In 2017, I was personally invited by Walt Disney Studios to audition for the role of Aladdin in their live-action film version of Aladdin. But they were very nice, they were very chill. It wasn't this fancy environment, it was very laid back. And then I was in touch also with the London casting director who cast the Wonder Woman movie as well. But still, to be invited to audition by Disney is an absolutely indescribable experience. I actually have been involved in the business behind the scenes, like over the past 10 years or so. I think my mother has also really gone out of her way to understand music, understand drama, even though it's not her field at all. So I'm very, very grateful to my parents. It's about presenting it correctly, not just asking a young audience to come watch the opera, but having a few, maybe like a lecture or two, or even a workshop or two, just to get them into it. And once you get them into it, they're guaranteed to love it. Down the road, I would love to collaborate with both local and foreign composers and create something very special. I just love being in that Hollywood environment where, you feel the presence of, all these classic Hollywood actors who have been there from the silent movie era downwards. You're surrounded by that, you feel it, you live it, you breathe it. Whenever they have a special movie screening, they'll invite the actors and the directors and the producers to come do Q&A sessions. Jon Favreau was so nice to me. I was wearing my University of Southern California sweatshirt, and because he knew about the USC Film School, he was like, "Oh, are you a filmmaker?" And this was back in 2014. I hadn't produced anything, not even my short films at that time. And my instinct was to say, "No, Mr. Favreau, I'm only an actor, I'm not a filmmaker." Jon Favreau inspired me to produce my short film. I can't work with people who don't take their work seriously and who don't honor their professional commitments and engagements. That's a pet hate. On a personal level, I would say I'm very old-fashioned, I'm very prudish. Morals and values are very important to me. I really hate loose morals. I think plants are really the finest living beings because they're so innocent, they're so beautiful. They're also very majestic. Plants are never messy or smelly or dirty or whatever like certain animals can be, and I think that's why I love plants. I'm a baritone, I'm a classically trained baritone. I think my voice, I sing with a lot of vibrato because, vibrato is pretty much synonymous with classical singing and operatic singing. I still remember just, being at the golf face, just feeling the sea breeze and having, thousands of people there on the golf face green. It was an experience I will, not give up for anything. Unfortunately, my parents weren't there that day. I think they were overseas. But even though I didn't really have any family members in the audience, I was still so proud because, I was with my Sri Lankan family. Unfortunately, my schedule is such that I can't get involved in too many of those activities because, my schedule doesn't permit it, but whenever possible, I try to get involved. A number of people inspire me. From a spiritual point of view, there are the saints and Lord Jesus Christ, of course, who inspire me to be as moral and as wholesome as I can be. As virtuous as I can be. From an artistic point of view, there are so many singers and actors down the centuries who have inspired me. Right now, Placido Domingo at the LA Opera, whom I've met several times, he has really inspired me because, you think of him as this operatic legend, but he's such a down-to-earth person. He's like a grandfather, really. My advice for young Sri Lankan musicians is to first be the best human being that you can be, because you see, music is such a personal medium. Singing is, you're singing straight from the heart, unless you have a rock-solid technique, which takes years and years of study. So, put in the work, put in the effort, and you will succeed.